Hello, how's everyone doing? Another day, right? Another day. Hello, I hope everyone's good. I hope everyone's good today. Streaming live on several channels. How's everyone doing? My name is Celso Garcia, and I'm streaming live from New York. Live from New York City, Celso Garcia. I'm streaming live from New York City for my viewing audience. Thank you for joining me every day, making this broadcast more popular. Hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram, and Substack, right? Hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you all for doing so, right? Right now, it's building up an audience, building people up, and building up the content, and also building up my logistical hurdles. Just like Tucker Carlson left Fox News, and now he's broadcasting on his own so he could still be independent, right? People choose to be independent. It's the best way to go nowadays, right? It's the best way to go. Um, right? It's the best way to go. And I appreciate you all for even joining me and for hitting the like, subscribe button. And so, right? Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the share button. It always helps. And share it with friends, family, and especially write your comments below. So right now, Tucker Carlson is on a rampage, right? I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everyone's having a blessed day and enjoying their day. Covering the news is definitely not the best. Every day we're having worse and worse days. We're being told by the administration that every day is a good day, right? Every day is a good day that things are running as normal. And then we keep hearing from the ground that things are getting a little bit out of control, right? That things are getting a little bit out of control. So I don't understand why they claim that's under control when we all know it's not under control, right? You can't tell people one thing and then they see the reality, right? As much as the news will want to cover every single thing that Donald Trump does in a positive light, it's hard to do so when every other worldwide news agency has a different opinion, right? Has a different opinion and is showing losses, right? It's showing losses across the board. So Tucker Carlson had somebody on his show. He's having national security expert and Trump supporter Joe Kent, which is not, like I already said, is not a very good person. He's been involved in a lot of the stuff that's been happening across America, but he's a Trump loyalist, right? And Trump claims that he doesn't know him very well, but in the end of the day, he's a Trump loyalist, right? So this is what Donald Trump had to say. I mean, this is what Tucker Carlson had to say. Is Tucker Carlson on a rampage? Is he on a blitz? Iran posed no imminent threat. National Counterintelligence Center director resigns over Iran war. Joe Kent resigned from his position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center on Tuesday, right? So he resigned from his position on Tuesday, right? But so Tucker Carlson is actually speaking up about the issue of him resigning, right? And you saw that Tucker Carlson was one of the people that helped Trump get elected, right? And will always say that people misunderstand Trump, that everything people are saying about Trump is wrong, and he always stood up for him, right? He always found a way to stand up for Donald Trump. So now the tides have turned, and some of the Trump supporters are turning on uh, Donald Trump. Is it a lot of people? I'm not sure. I'm not too confident. There's a generational, how can I say, a generation split, right? The young Trump supporters are supporting him. No, they're not. The older ones are the ones that are sticking to their guns. The baby boomers that support Trump pretty much sticking by him. But the younger Trump supporters are kind of turning, right? I guess the social media, because where you get your news from, um, if you're getting your news from, let's say, Fox News, or you're getting your news from Newsmax, or you're getting your news from network TV, you wouldn't be able to tell that much that the United States war is not going that well. However, if you watch people like Hassan Piker um, and new media, then you'll see that the everything that's happening in Iran is not going too well. And so, according to Joe Kent, which is not a good person, right? He has a bad history with supremacist groups and being involved in all types of stuff that a person like myself wouldn't be glorifying this, right? He said Iran posed no threat to our nation, and it's clear that we started the war due to pressures from Israel. Kent, who tried to investigate possible foreign involvement in Charlie Kirk's murder, wrote in his letter to the president. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit of the American people, nor justifies the cost of American lives, he added. So he resigned. It was one of Trump's highest losses, right? It was the highest losses he's had, the highest resignation of an official at the highest level, right? He hasn't really had that many losses because he put in loyalists that has had his way of thinking, right? It's not like the first administration that he surrounded himself by people from different backgrounds and didn't really surround himself with yes people. But now he surrounded himself with loyalists. And as a result, it seems to be that Tucker Carlson is going on a little um, diatribe where he's kind of criticizing Trump badly about Iran. Tucker Carlson is criticizing, um, uh, he's pretty much criticizing, um, right? And this is who is going to appear. This is who's going to appear on the show, right? This is who's gonna show the who look who's gonna appear, right? All right, look who's gonna appear, right? All right, let's see who's gonna appear, right? Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. Okay. Guess who Chuckle Carlson is gonna have on the show tonight? On his show. Guess who he's gonna have on the show tonight? Joe Kent exclusive at 6 p.m. So he's gonna have Joe Kent on exclusive on the Tucker Carlson show to speak about why he resigned from the Trump administration. This is an interview that Donald Trump does not want, right? A platform that they're giving him an actual platform to speak about why he quit the Trump administration. Since no other media really will want to give him the platform, and he'll probably let him speak freely. He's actually going to speak freely about the whole Trump ordeal, right? How it was like working with Trump and how he came to a big disagreement. But I don't know if I could trust this disagreement, right? I don't know if I could trust this disagreement because remember that they had a big disagreement with uh, Elon Musk, and uh, and the disagreement with Elon Musk was just temporary, right? Donald Trump had a falling out, and it seemed like it was scripted and a way to distance themselves from each other, so people could think that they really had a falling out. But some people feel like it wasn't a falling out, right? It wasn't a true falling out. So, I mean, what do you think? Was it a true falling out, or it's just a scripted way to just distance themselves from this? Or maybe Trump wanted to head in a different direction. I mean, but he's blowing the lid on the Trump administration. This could be damaging, right? Remember, uh, there were several people. Christy Nome, well, Trump said he fired her, then he took her back. Why he took her back? Because a lot of people say he wasn't ready to part ways because she had too much information on him, and so it's looking damaging for Donald Trump, right? It's looking damaging for him, and he looks rattled when he's speaking. He looks kind of rattled. He's not.
All of the NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much. We have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. We've that war has been long prosecuted as far as I'm concerned, almost from day one. We knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO.
So it's a mess, right? It's like maybe he doesn't want to be associated. Kent doesn't want to be associated with the mess and all the things that are happening and the possible, red lines that they're crossing. They just ran over. They just blew up the airfield in Qatar. They just it was a joint Iranian Qatar airfield that produced gas. It seems like the gas prices are not stabilizing, right? The gas prices are not stabilizing. As much as they want the gas prices to stabilize, they're not stabilizing. Um, and so it makes me wonder, do they really have it under control? If he starts getting a lot of people to quit, he's having changeover now. Christy Nome is gone, but she's in the Shield of America in a new position, not in a high pressure position. Um, Now they're saying that Trump is a warmonger, that he's supporting war, and he's not listening to anyone, even his advisors at this point. Is that a possibility that he's not even listening to his advisors and he's just doing things however he feels like it? And that's causing him to lose support from even the people within his administration that always support him no matter what, right?
while they agree that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't do it." They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential. I call it the nuclear dust. So I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake. And I've long said that, I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us.
So is Trump being toxic?
This is a great test because we don't need them, but they should have been there.
See, we don't need them, but we need them, but they should join us, but they shouldn't join us. Like, the story is getting very ugly, right? The story is getting very ugly. Donald Trump is looking bad every day. It's looking worse and worse. And according to this report that I'm reading from Newsweek, is that I'm reading a report that according to this, Donald Trump's approval rating nosedives with Gen Z, right? President Donald Trump's approval rating among Gen Z has fallen sharply, with new polling showing a steep drop in support among voters aged 18 to 29. And these are the people that rely more on social media, rely more on the internet, watch different shows like Hassan Piker, watch shows like mine that are starting up, and so they don't rely on the network news as much to get their news and information, and they get it from different sources and piece it together, and therefore they're more adept at handling the technology and handling a whole different system, right? So younger voters helped return Trump to the White House in 2024, making warning signs among Gen Z as significant, right? Why it matters, right? They're saying why it matters. Why does it matter? Right? Why it matters? According to this analysis, why does it matter? Younger voters helped return Trump to the White House in 2024. This is a key voting bloc, right? It's making warning signs among Gen Z significant as the 2026 midterms approach. Sustained erosion within that bloc could complicate Republican turnout and enthusiasm in competitive races. What to know? New polling from The Economist and YouGov suggests Trump's standing with young Americans has deteriorated rapidly over the past month. In a survey conducted March 6 to 9 among 1,563 U.S. adult citizens with a margin of error plus or minus 3.4 percentage points, Trump posted an overall approval rating of 40%, with 55% disapproving, producing a net approval, those who approve minus those who disapprove, of minus 15 points. So maybe Tucker Carlson's onto something. I'm not a big fan of Tucker Carlson. However, he's onto something. He's willing to criticize the president and speak about his failures, right? Which most of the other media establishment has not been willing to do. Among voters aged 18 to 29, often grouped as Gen Z, the numbers were notably weaker. Just 32% approved of Trump's job performance, while 60% disapproved, translating to a net approval rating of minus 28. So his approval rating went down 28 points. A follow-up Economist YouGov poll conducted March 13 to the 16th among 1,595 U.S. adult citizens with a plus or minus 3.3 percentage point margin of error shows that decline accelerating. Overall approval slipped to 37%, while disapproval rose to 56%, pushing Trump's net approval to net minus 19%. So when you thought his approval couldn't get any lower, his approval keeps declining, especially among Gen Z, the younger generations, which were critical in the win of Zohran in New York City, our critical voting bloc that has been activated in the last election cycle, right? they pretty much were motivated to vote by a younger um, activists ready to go and speak about the issues that they're facing, right? Affordability issue, a issue with not being able to survive in the most expensive city or in the United States, right? One of the most expensive cities. So this is resonating with the young and with the majority of Americans, especially the younger Americans. Within Jets, the approval dropped to 25%, while disapproval stood at 64%. That produced a net approval rating of minus 39, marking a 11-point net swing in the wrong direction for Trump in just over a week. The shift represents a collapse in support among younger voters, even as Trump's broader numbers move only modestly over the same period, according to this particular polling series. And you know why? When companies shed jobs, the first ones to lose their jobs are the younger generation. They're usually the ones that are affected and lose their jobs at a higher rate than anyone else, right? The younger generation is always affected negatively. Believe it or not, the younger generation is the one that ends up losing their job, and it's harder for them to recover, especially with the AI, artificial intelligence taking over a lot of jobs, and now with the market not doing as well, and also gas prices, diesel prices going up in a great amount, that makes it work. Wow, child Jeff. Okay, you're getting this from MSN, which can be inaccurate at times, and that's from Microsoft support and AdFont Media. So I mean, what's so bad? So MSN is bad, or Tucker Carlson is bad? I mean, I don't agree with Tucker Carlson on a lot of things, but I think his reporting on Donald Trump is kind of accurate, don't you think? You think that Tucker Carlson is not reporting accurately about what is happening in the Middle East? I mean, you're telling me that he's not reporting things accurately? He was a big Trump supporter, right? He was a Trump supporter. And so he's saying Tucker Carlson is saying that Donald Trump, the warmongers in the party have destroyed Donald Trump's mission and have distracted him, right? They penetrated his administration, and now they're willing to do whatever they want, right? They're willing to do whatever they want, and they're making Trump look real bad. And he really has moved away from his original mission, which was a different mission than what he's trying to accomplish now. Tucker Carlson was a Trump loyalist. He helped Donald Trump get elected. He helped campaign for Donald Trump. He helped push for Donald Trump to be approved. And now he's turning on Donald Trump. And now you don't believe what he's saying? That Donald Trump has betrayed his base and is not willing to do. This is his opinion. Let's listen to it.
I'm standing next to Trump at Mar-a-Lago when he won. I was with him on stage in the weeks before. I was there the next morning with all the transition guys. I saw that all up close. I thought it was thrilling. I thought the coalition that he pulled together in last election was like true sign of hope in American politics. People who never voted for Republicans, never voted at all, voted for him. Young people, black men and Hispanic guys, and like just Americans all coming together, and I really like that. And to see the neocons intentionally destroy that coalition, because ultimately it was a threat to them. Anything America First is a threat to people who demand loyalty to a foreign country. They did it on purpose. It worked. And all of a sudden, MTG and Massey are the main enemies. According to Ted Cruz, I'm a bigger danger than any liberal. Like, what? It was all on purpose. They did it on purpose. They destroyed Trump's 2024 coalition, got him to go along with it, and they just blew it up. I'm standing next to Trump.
So he's saying the neocons, the neoconservatives, the warmongers of the party have taken over, and now they pretty much are taking over all of Trump's thinking, and they penetrated his administration to the point that are misguiding him, right? According to Tucker Carlson, they misguiding him. And I'm not saying I'm a fan of Tucker Carlson. Obviously, I'm not a fan of Tucker Carlson, but he's doing independent media, independent reporting. And a lot of people have said that he's in danger because Candace Owens said it, that he's in danger. Yeah. So no, I was talking about Wild Child. I'm not crazy. It's just that when media doesn't want a person, they push you out, right? So I'm presenting it from different point of views. I'm not just using MSN. I use different sources. I use independent media. I use MSN. I use DropSite. I use left different sources, because that's the only way you can get answers in this world. The only way you can get answers if you get it from different sources. That's the only way you can get answers in this media environment, right? You get little dibs and dabs, and then you have to decide what is credible, what is not credible, what is good, and what is garbage. Why it's being put there. And you always have to ask yourself. I was listening today to the radio, right? And I was asking, why do they want me to hear this message? I asked myself, why do they want me to hear this message? Right? I asked myself, why do they want me to hear this message? It has to be a reason. Why they're trying to, out of all the stories and news stories, out of the thousands of news stories that they could be speaking about, they decide they want to speak about this news story or that news story. They want to talk about the cat in the tree, or the the dog that was wagged by a lot of people. The dog that was wagged, or like the tail that was wagged. They want to speak about the things that are not important. So media can be biased, of course, in both sides, or push an agenda. So it's up to us to see what's the truth, right? What's the truth? So it's hard too, because not everyone has that a skill or ability to decipher what exactly is the difference between what's fake and what's real. And that's what I was talking about, the 1984 effect, right? The 1984 effect of the Iran war, right? We have this effect that, if you ever read George Orwell, 1984, George Orwell is the plot of it. If you read the book, it's a fiction book, right? But at the end of the day, it's actually a nonfiction book, because it speaks about the reality that people are spinning the truth so much that unless we can figure out what the truth is, then the truth is hard to decipher, right? The truth is hard to decipher, right? And so the truth can be hard to decipher, right? Let me see if I can listen to this person on TikTok. Let's see what they got to say. All right. Oh, they dropped. Right. And they get upset with me because I'm not a Trump fan, right? I don't like a lot of the stuff he's done for a long time, right? I don't think he was the best president. He wasn't qualified to run for president. He doesn't have the international experience or the knowledge that most presidents have. So he relies on experts and people like Kent, right, that are going to feed him the information and advise him as to what is the best thing and the best course of how he should proceed, right? But in this moment, they overrided the generals. They overrid the generals and ignored them and instead listened to people like Marco Rubio that doesn't really have a lot of international experience, hands-on international experience, doesn't have a lot of diplomatic experience, and you're relying on people like that to give the president advice, right? And ignore the generals that have been generals and have been dealing with the region or dealing with the area, and you ignore them and you take the advice of people like Marco Rubio, right? That doesn't know much, or it just studied or spoken to people. It's just been a politician most of his life. So doesn't really understand the deep down issues or hasn't been on the ground to understand exactly how it works, right? But a lot of these generals served or were on the ground in Iraq or were in the ground in Afghanistan. So they understand the difference between what's written in the textbook or what's written in the policy briefs or what's written and compared to actually what actually happens in real life, right? What actually happens in on the ground, right? It's a big difference, right? To say drop a bomb here, drop a bomb there, drop a bomb there, and you don't know or see what it does to people and what it does to structures and what it actually does to families and to the people in the world, right? It's easy to press that little button or send that command as if it's we are playing video games, but you're not playing video games. This is actual people's lives are being affected every time you give that order or you make that decision, right? So you need people that are going to take that seriously and understand what it means, right? What it actually means, right? People that are going to take it seriously. So let me drop in on this one. So Donald Trump is trying to get those wins, right? Donald Trump is trying to get those wins. So these are the halls of Congress. Right now, they're trying to pass the SAVE Act, right? They're trying to push the SAVE Act, but at the same time, there's hearings being held, right? There's hearings being held. I guess they cut the feed. Okay. So there's meetings being held um, regarding the SAVE Act, and there's also meetings being held regarding the funding. And Hakeem Jeffries has proposed a stopgap measure to basically fund TSA, but still cut the funding for ICE. Right, that was his proposal, and I'm not sure how people feel about that. Right, how people feel about that proposal. Right, and so if you see the bias in the media, you call it out, right? No matter what, if it's a right wing media, left wing media, any media, if you're able to catch it, what you do, you call it out and we could discuss it, right? right? We could discuss it. And we'll be good because that's what I want. So let's hear a little bit more about the counterterrorism. What they talk about the counterterrorism Kent resigning, which is being interviewed by Tucker Carlson right now as we speak, right? And so a lot of people also calling Donald Trump a warmonger, right? He surrounded himself with the Dick Cheneys or the people that really, the way Dick Cheney pushed um, George W. Bush uh, to go to war, right? They're saying that this is what's happening, right? So let's listen to this a little bit more, right? They're calling him a warmonger now.
We're talking about a top counterterror official. The role huge, whether you know the name or not, Joe Kent, resigning because of the Iran war. And this is an anti-war kind of conscience resignation.
Or at least they claim that, so, you know?
Saying, I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran, noting it posed, quote, no imminent threat to our nation. It's clear we started the war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Kent, who is a MAGA diehard, but also isn't exactly known for all factual mastery and election denier, among other things, puts this in a kind of conservative, even somewhat conspiratorial format, but to many on the right, that may resonate, saying Trump broke campaign promises. Until June of 25, he writes, kind of directly addressing the president, quote, you understood the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. Old Iran struck another tanker off the coast of the UAE.
So he basically said that Donald Trump is breaking his promises of his campaign. And a lot of people are saying that he just doesn't want to be connected to this because his career suicide being connected to a war that's not going too well, right? That keeps escalating. And it was an excursion. And now we're already on the 14th day. We're 2 weeks into it. And it's no longer an excursion. It just keeps escalating more and more. And some people are saying that maybe the United States is building ground forces up in the United States. They're building up ground forces to possibly send limited amount of forces into Iran to conduct limited operations. And maybe that's why he ended up resigning. But it seems as if he really got people upset, right? He really got people upset, and I'm not sure what's going on, right? Right? They got a lot of people upset with the way he's doing things, right? Let's keep hearing this.
That is the 17th.
So
Iran is strangling with a giant chokehold the Strait of Hormuz, cutting off about a fifth of the world's oil supply. Military experts say it's now the defining issue. They warn Trump will either have to find an off-ramp, something that we've been discussing since day one because there wasn't a clear goal, or if you actually wanted to stop the reality, as well as Trump would put it, the television images that you're seeing here around the Middle East, around the world, it might take ground troops. Here's Trump.
The Iranian regime has told Sky News, if you put boots on the ground in Iran, it will be another Vietnam. Are you afraid of that?
No, I'm really not afraid of anything.
Note for journalists, if you ask Donald Trump a question.
So he doesn't feel that putting boots on the ground, he's not scared of putting boots on the ground. He's not scared of anything, right? You hear that, right? He's not scared of anything. And that's what he's saying. He's not scared of anything. and he keeps being asked, and will more people resign in his administration if he puts boots on the ground? Because he's not backing down. It seems like he's not
And then
backing
say,
down.
are you afraid? He is going to say no. Meaning that while we're showing you the way he sounded regarding a boots on the ground question, that doesn't necessarily tell us what he's actually planning. Sometimes you have to watch what he does, not what he says. Israel says they killed 2 more top Iranian officials. U.S. intelligence believes Iran's regime, though, consolidating power despite withering airstrikes.
So they're targeting leadership. They still have the theory that they could just sever the head and the rest of the body will fall, right? If they get all the leadership out, then they will be able to do regime change in Israel. But it seems like they're going beyond regime change. They're going beyond getting rid of the leadership, because now Trump claims that we don't know who's in charge, but they were even saying that Netanyahu didn't make it, and supposedly, and there was videos that came out of Netanyahu saying certain things, right? Right, Netanyahu was saying certain things, and so this kind of got interesting, right? The whole scenario is getting interesting. Let me see. See, everyone has a different opinion on the matter. Thank you for sharing the live and hitting the like button. Also hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. Write your comments below. It helps, right? Right? It helps. So yesterday, Donald Trump was really upset about the Venezuela loss, right? We're going to talk about that, about Venezuela, the United States losing to Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic, right? He was really upset about this. And so he continues
Officials
to
see a, quote, weakened but more hardline government in Tehran, the Post reports, backed by powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps security forces. There are other aspects to this, though, when you look at a fundamentally MAGA figure who was in a counterterrorist spot resigning and saying what a lot of other people on the right are saying, which is Donald Trump is breaking his vows. There's discord over the war in Iran. There is the problem of the reason or the rationale or the lack of threat posed by Iran. And then there is the sort of unusual world of MAGA. This comes up all the time if you look at who Donald Trump relies on and who are the sort of narrators of their movement.
Thank you for sending gifts, everyone. Thank you, and liking the live.
Nice.
How you doing?
Celebrating 20 plus years of Carter Classics with special guest 2 Chainz.
So I appreciate you. These are the people Trump is putting on his team.
I no longer call myself MAGA. I am an America-only patriot. I'm a Christian nationalist, an American Christian nationalist. And so I have to open my eyes to the reality in front of my face, and it's caused a division inside of MAGA, and it's caused a division on the political right. But so be it. And so if I lose my pardon because of that, then so be it.
So
he's out. He can't lose the pardon, although many police might wish otherwise. Again, not an Iran expert, not an honest, law-abiding citizen, and yet someone who you would expect owes his liberty to Donald Trump, literally did crimes for Donald Trump, and now says he's out.
Steve Rose, the Oath Keeper, says he's out. He's not MAGA, no longer MAGA, and he's turning on him. So the hardcore MAGA are kind of a little bit losing their mind with the Iran war because Donald Trump said he was going to do any wars and he was going to spend money on wars. And MAGA, my friend Sensei here always knew that MAGA always get upset about war, right? They always get upset and say, they always will talk about the Biden and how Biden handled Afghanistan and how Biden handled the Middle East and how the Trump was going to come in and he was going to end the genocide in Gaza, how he was going to end the Ukraine war with one phone call. Did people forget about that one phone call? We're still waiting for that one phone call, right? Where Donald Trump said that he's going to end the war in Iran. No, right? He would not waste his time with the war in Iran, right? So it's like people are on a whirlwind and they don't understand what Trump was arguing or saying because he broke every single promise, every single promise he made to his loyal fans. But still people say they support him. But there's certain people that are like, we're out. We can't keep supporting him when we're white nationalists. We believe America first. We believe in only America. And we don't believe in anything else other than the United States being number one. And this is not making the United States stronger. It's not helping the economy. And let me see. And today, Jerome Powell decided he released a statement that it was a short statement. That's all you need to hear anyway.
The implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration.
So Jerome Powell said there's going to be destabilization in the economy, but they're leaving the benchmark of the interest rate at where it is, but they'll be ready to act if there's further destabilization of the global market. And Donald Trump has been wanting to fire this man for a long time, and he has refused to bend.
The implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy. But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy.
So be ready, people. The prices are going to shoot up soon. Be ready to pay more for gas. Be ready to pay more for diesel. Be ready to pay more for everything you buy because everything depends on oil. Everything depends on gas. And this is not being fixed. And this is going to take a long time for it to be fixed, right? It's going to take a long time to be fixed. Let me hear what my friend has to say on TikTok. I guess not. I guess he backtracked, right? He backtracked on TikTok, right? So Jerome Powell is talking about he's going to raise the, he's going to keep the interest rate the same, but there's going to be inflation coming soon. And so brace yourself. The immediate impact on the economy, we don't know yet, but just brace yourself and be ready. Because we already saw the diesel prices. The diesel prices have gone up, right? Diesel has gone up. Gas has gone up. And so we have to understand that there's people in the right wing part of the party that are upset that Donald Trump is not lowering prices. He's starting wars. He broke most of his promises of this term, right? Everyone subscribe, hit the like button, hit the share button. Help this podcaster out, right? I appreciate you all. And let's hear what he has to say a little bit more.
Wars profits. Meanwhile, Americans squeezed by the economic consequences. Donald Trump ran on lowering prices. He had failed to do that before the start of this war. Now he's got gas prices going up, which everyone who works in this field says was a foreseeable consequence. That was known at the Pentagon, it was known at the Treasury, and it was known across Wall Street. So here's Trump's economic council director on that problem.
The fact is that the U.S. economy is fundamentally sound, and that if it were to be extended, it wouldn't really disrupt the U.S. economy very much at all. It would hurt consumers, and we'd have to think about, if that continued, what we would have to do about that. But that's like really the last of our concerns right now, because we're very confident that this thing is going ahead of schedule.
It's going ahead of schedule. Don't worry, right? But then we got this. Who's the expert? Who's the real expert on the economy? Is it Trump's economic team or Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve chairman that has been dealing with so many issues?
But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy. But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain.
So in other words, he doesn't want to destabilize the market by raising interest rate, because people are already stressed, people are already worried. So if they raise the interest rates, it's going to send people in a spiral, because people are going to get even further scared, and people are going to pull money out from the market and everything. So they're keeping it the same, so therefore people won't panic. They don't want to cause a panic, but they're saying,
higher energy
be
prices
ready.
Will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy. But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain.
See? Big difference, right? In opinion, right? What Donald Trump's people are saying versus what a nonpartisan, independent part of the government is saying, right? Big difference, right? One is saying everything's going to be okay. The other one's saying we don't know. Everything's so uncertain, right?
I am joined by our experts, Molly Jong Fast and Rev Sharp.
So these are more experts. And, so people are saying, oh, no, why are you covering MSN, right? Why are you covering, right? So it's also Reuters, right? Reuters is speaking a certain way, and Trump is upset, right, with the news media. Trump is really upset with the news media. He feels like the news media is making him look bad, but you saw it was so he's really upset about how he's being covered by the media overall, right? This is him on the plane. He's being interviewed by reporters, and he's just straight up angry and upset. So he's saying that all the information, all the videos, all the commentary is negative and is making America look bad and making America look weak, right? Right? That's making America look weak, right? Sometimes they send me news like alerts. This was 14 hours ago. The U.S. military dropped several 5,000-pound bombs on Iranian missile storage sites near the Strait of Hormuz this week, as the conflict with Iran continues to escalate and the costs hit closer to home. Central Command says the strike targeted weapons Iran had positioned near the strait, a vital oil shipping route that were threatening American ships. President Trump called the results historic. All right. And so the Strait of Hormuz is still closed for the U.S. And this is complicating the whole situation for Donald Trump and for his team. How do they explain to people that the strait is closed? How do they explain to people that oil is going to hit, it's hitting higher amounts, higher prices, doubled almost?
News coverage he deems unfavorable. His recent comments mark an escalation of threats against news organizations. Some press freedom advocates worry about a chilling effect on journalism during wartime and point to freedoms of speech in the press enshrined in the Constitution.
This is not a new phenomenon. What's new is the personal way that President Trump does it.
Harold Holzer is the author of the book, The Presidents versus the Press.
Maybe the ugliest thing about this current crackdown is that he's acting like a despotic, authoritarian, military leader who tolerates no pushback.
And he was upset, right? He was upset about everything that was happening, right? He was really upset about all the things that were happening. He was really upset about the media and the way they're asking questions. And he threatened the FCC chairman, threatened news agencies with being able to lose their licenses if they keep speaking about the issues that they're speaking about and making America look weak or making America look bad. But all they're doing is reporting and speaking the truth and speaking on the issues. That's all. I don't think they're doing anything bad. That shows what the media is supposed to do, right? The media, that's their job. That's their number one job, right? Is to, cover the media. And that's just the reality, everyone, that the media doesn't like to be bashed just because you feel like it. Okay. And Hexac has a whole different attitude, right?
Yeah, right here. You have said that the U.S. military has essentially aerial superiority, naval superiority over Iran, yet we're not escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Why? How did you not plan for this?
We planned for it. We recognize it because ultimately we want to do it sequentially in a way that makes the most sense for what we want to achieve and ensure that we're sending the right signals to the world when we do so.
What signals are you sending to the world now? You understand? What are the signals that you send into the world now? That's my question. What are the signals you send into the world now? When Hegseth is talking about he wants to send the right signal to the world. Crazy, right? Let's keep listening to him. Right.
So when Chris Wright speaks or we speak, it's based on a full assessment of what we're up against, what we want to say to the world, how that we want them to see and understand the conflict. It's like this whole idea of the war widening. That's what the press wants to make it look like it's widening and chaos is ensuing. No, we're actually closing in on grabbing hold of and controlling what objectives we want to achieve and how we want to achieve them. It's called shaping operations and setting the conditions. But when you shape,
so we're shaping the world right now. So when we are blowing up oil fields, when we're blowing up energy, we're shaping the world, right? We're shaping it to our liking, right? Is that possible? Is that true? I mean, I showed this video yesterday, but I had to watch it again.
The environment, you don't always tell. I mean, foolish political leaders and foolish military leaders of the past will hang an exact deadline on it. Or here's exactly when we'll do what we're going to do, or here's how long it's going to take us. And then if you meet that, maybe you meet it, but if you don't, you fail. And if you're far beyond, we know exactly what we're shaping and why. We're sending those signals working across the interagency. The Strait of Hormuz is something we've paid attention to from the beginning. And the American people can rest assured we will ensure that our interests are advanced, no doubt.
Loving it, right? Loving it. Right? Right? Is the things that happen, right? Is that what war is? Like
setting the conditions, but when you shape the environment, you don't always tell. I mean, foolish political leaders and foolish military leaders of the past will hang an exact deadline on it. Or here's exactly when we'll do what we're going to do, or here's how long it's going to take us. And then if you meet that, maybe you meet it, but if you don't, you fail. And if you're far beyond, we know exactly what we're shaping and why. We're sending those signals working across the interagency. The Strait of Hormuz is something we've paid attention to from the beginning. And the American people can rest assured we will ensure that our interests are advanced, no doubt.
Wow. Totally different, right? Totally different what they're saying. What each person in the administration is saying is totally discombobulated, not under control. So it shows the chaos. When Kent resigned, now it's showing the chaos within the Trump administration. They want to show that everything's good. Don't worry, we got it under control. And what happened? They went into Venezuela and they thought they had it under control. Now, Donald Trump is saying that he's going to go into Cuba, and it's not going to work that easily, right? It's not going to work that easily. Now they want to go into Cuba, and Cuba's saying if the United States dares do whatever they want to do, the United States is not going to handle it, right? The United States won't be able to handle the resistance that they're going to face, right? So Donald Trump went on a tweet, right? He went crazy, right? He went a little hard, right? On Venice, right? Donald Trump wastes no time posting on social media after U.S. loses to Venezuela, right? President Donald Trump was quick to make Venezuela's triumphant World Baseball Classic victory all about himself, right? Talking to Truth Social immediately. He took to Truth Social immediately, right? He took to Truth Social immediately, and he was quick to make Venezuela to push his familial political agenda. Statehood, he wrote, signing off as President DJT. This followed a similarly provocative post 24 hours earlier when Venezuela knocked out Italy, in which Trump attempted to take credit for their success. Just 8 days after he was slammed for a sick Major League Baseball video that offended viewers, right? So he said the only reason why Venezuela won was because the United States is running Venezuela, right? The night before the final, Trump wrote, "Good things are happening to Venezuela lately. I wonder what this magic is all about. Statehood, number 51, anyone? President Donald J. Trump." So he's saying he wants to make Venezuela the 51st state. So before he leaves office, he wants another state. It could be Cuba. It could be Venezuela. He wanted to make Greenland a part of the United States. He wants the United States to have a 51st state. And most chances are he'll name that 51st state he'll name it after Donald Trump, right? Just like he named the Kennedy Center after Donald Trump. Star player Bryce Harper delivered a dramatic home run to level the score in the 8th inning, raising hopes for an American comeback. However, Venezuela reclaimed the lead at 3-2 in the top of the 9th inning, holding on to secure an emotionally charged victory, all against a backdrop of political upheaval stemming from Trump's effort to oust Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro this year. Adding to the drama, U.S. players met with loud booing from the crowd at their home stadium prior to the contest, reports the Mirror USA. Prior to the tournament, Venezuelan manager Omar Lopez made clear that his squad had no interest in engaging with politics, stating that their sole focus was bringing happiness to their nation. "I've been working in baseball for 28 years, and I don't talk about politics stuff, to be honest," Lopez said. So he wasn't interested in politics at all, right? I'm here to talk about Venezuela team. I'm not here to talk about anything about political situations around the world, around my country. We are alive, we're here, and we want to play for our team to win every single game here. Eugenio Suarez, whose crucial go-ahead RBI double secured the victory, had commented earlier in the tournament, "Baseball is beautiful. Baseball is a sport that unites. I feel like this has brought happiness to our country, which it desperately needs and deserves to have a united public watching us every day in the World Baseball Classic. Yelling and supporting us in these games is really special." So Donald Trump tried to seize on their moment, trying to turn it, say that they're going to be the 51st state of the United States. Everyone hit the like, subscribe button so I could upgrade my camera so the camera could look clearer, so I could get a 1080p camera, right? Or, sometimes it recognizes it, sometimes it doesn't. So I could upgrade my equipment. Definitely double tap on the screen, like the live, share the live, and I appreciate you all for joining me on this live journey, right? And today will probably be a short one, right? Because tomorrow's going to be a long day for me. So oh man, so Donald Trump sent a new message to the people in the Strait of Hormuz. He's saying that he has a new message for the people that are in the Strait of Hormuz. Let's listen to it.
News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi is live outside the White House for us, and she joins us right now. Good to see you again, Olivia. So has the president made any progress on getting NATO allies to help police the Strait of Hormuz?
Hugo, it's great to see you.
So he wrote
And over at the White House, President Trump is sending a new message to NATO allies this morning. He asked what would happen if the U.S., quote, finished off what's left of the Iranian terror state and let the countries that use it be responsible for the strait. Of course, he's referring to the Strait of Hormuz. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi is live outside the White House for us, and she joins us right now. Good to see you again, Olivia. So has the president made any progress on getting NATO allies to help police the Strait of Hormuz?
Hugo, it's great to see you. The short answer is no. The president has made no progress on getting more NATO allies, European allies, and even China to sign on in trying to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The president has expressed displeasure with NATO allies, saying that saying that the U.S. rather came to the aid of Ukraine.
So he has made no progress, even though he claims that he's making progress. Now he's ranting on Twitter, on social media, against NATO and against the allies, and saying that the United States has always helped these countries, and now all of a sudden they don't want to help the United States. And as if he won't forget this moment, and he's really upset that they're not helping him. They're not helping the United States in this situation. It's getting him really upset, right? Let me switch over a little bit from national politics to local politics. Let's talk about Zohran, right? Some people were upset about Zohran connecting let me see. So the Democrats have a messaging problem, right? I've been saying that many times. And we got this guy right now. We got people like John Fetterman, right? Speaking crazy talk, right? This is John Fetterman being interviewed, and this is his talk, right?
Who do you think leads the Democratic Party today?
Oh, we don't have one. I think the TDS. I think that's the leader right now. You know, right now our party is governed by the TDS, and
so he's saying that we have Trump derangement syndrome, and our whole party has Trump derangement syndrome. John Fetterman, welcome to MAGA. Everyone is leaving MAGA and abandoning MAGA, and you're part of MAGA now. And I'm sure Fetterman's going to run as a Republican. I mean, he should just leave the Democratic Party and join the Republican.
now it's made it virtually impossible without being punished as a Democrat to agree something's good, or I agree with the other side. And I would define that by epic fury. I am literally the only Democrat in America in Congress that I've come across that's saying, I think it's a great thing to break and destroy the Iranian regime. I think it's entirely appropriate to hold them accountable. And what's strange to me that every single Democrat that's run for president and anyone that I know in Congress says we must never allow them to acquire a nuclear bomb. When that happens, why not celebrate that?
So he's saying that we need to break Iran, and he's with Donald Trump, and people have Trump derangement syndrome. Crazy for him to say. And he's with Iran, and he's with the Iranian war 100%. And he should have just said, I'm with Israel. He should have just said, I'm with Israel. I take a lot of money from Israel. I take hundreds of thousands of dollars from Israel and for the Israel lobby. So I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do because my whole candidacy is beholden to them.
Right? Acknowledge that. I have only witnessed just criticism and this kinds of attack. Like, yeah, you don't have to agree on every single thing, but when a good thing happens, just because it comes from the different.
How is it a good thing? The majority of Americans don't agree with this war, and now you're saying it's a good thing. What we're doing, regime change in Iran, it's a good thing the way we're going about it. When even the people in his own administration are resigning as a result of this
party, that tells me that you're choosing the demand of the base or the party over country or what's really I think appropriate in that circumstances.
Featherman, out of touch, right? John Featherman, come on, brother. I mean, out of touch, Featherman. You're really a warmonger. You should be part of the Republican Party. That's it. Just join the Republicans and support Donald Trump no matter what, right? And everyone else has TDS according to you. So if we don't support this war, we have TDS according to John Fetterman. I just came across this interview and man, I was gonna look up the Zohran stuff, and then this is what happens, right? You see this stuff and it triggers you and it gets you upset, and you just gotta speak about it, right? You just gotta speak about it because, right? It's just, you just gotta speak about it, right? So I said in the podcast, people are mad, angry at Zohran. Remember the video I played yesterday? Some people are saying that he's conflating the struggles of the Irish and the struggles of Gaza and the struggles of what's happening in the Middle East, right? So some people didn't like that. They say he's conflating the two problems. He's conflating the two issues, and he shouldn't conflate the two issues. But if you know history, they're very similar, right? Ireland had a whole big war and a whole big internal conflict for establishing itself and establishing peace within the country, right? It was a big internal conflict within different factions in Ireland. And yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. So Zohran posted this video, and some people are saying, I heard today they're saying, oh, how could he mix the two? How can he mix Ireland and how can you conflate the two, right? How can you conflate Ireland and Gaza and the genocide in Gaza? And it got people like kind of upset that he would do that. But it's similar in history. It is very similar. The history and people trying to have self-determination and be respected and be treated with respect. So let's listen to what Zohran had to say. I'll show you a video. I'm going to use the bathroom real fast while you watch the video, okay?
What we now know as Ireland, a British warlord named Caradocus had laid waste to the countryside. St. Patrick implored the soldiers responsible to stop. Overcome by grief, he wrote, "All I can do is what is written. Weep with those who weep."
There, right?
It is no small act to weep with those who weep. It is a choice, one that many do not make. It requires sacrifice, a subjugation of the self, solidarity. Irish solidarity is no coincidence, as it was on Irish soil that the British Empire developed their colonial project. So much of the exploitation later imposed elsewhere across the world was honed first in the plantations in Ireland. Who can better understand those who weep than those who have wept for so long? And yet the story of Ireland is not merely one of violent oppression, of subjugation, of attempted domination. It is one of resistance too. For centuries, generation after generation waged a lonely effort for independence. Year after year, uprising after uprising, they were brutally beaten back. And still, they kept coming. I think of leaders like James Connolly and Patrick Pearse, who roused hundreds of thousands with demands of political freedom and economic self-determination. I think of those who endured unimaginable hardship during the Troubles, the 10 prisoners who died after going on hunger strike to protest the British government's refusal to deem them political prisoners. I think of the many whose names have been lost to time, who perished from a famine exacerbated by imperial callousness. And I think of the discrimination Irish New Yorkers faced when they first came to these shores. They were barred from employment and housing. Signs plastered across storefronts read, "Help Wanted," No Irish need apply. They did not grow discouraged, however. They organized, mobilized, and formed labor movements that endure to this day. It was Irish hands that helped build so much of the city we recognize today. The skyscrapers that pierce clouds, the tunnels carved through bedrock. If solidarity has so often been withheld from the Irish, it has never been withheld by the Irish. An Irish diplomat named Roger Casement helped to expose the barbarism of Belgian King Leopold II in the Congo Free State. After Dublin supermarket workers went on a 3-year strike to protest apartheid, the Irish government banned the import of South African goods, the first complete ban by a Western government. And in 1980, Ireland was the first EEC nation to call for a Palestinian state. For years afterwards, Irish leaders like former President Mary Robinson stood steadfast in their support for Palestinian freedom. Today, as we celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I know there are many who feel a continued obligation to one another, to a world where justice does not feel so often like the exception, to all those who still weep. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
So that was yesterday. So today he had a kind of a backlash. They're saying that how dare he compare the Irish issue to how can he compare the Irish issue to the Gaza issue and to Palestinian self-determination? Because it is self-determination, right? Everyone's trying to self-determine themselves, and it's a controversial issue. So he addressed it in a historical manner and through history, and how the struggles are very similar to each other. But some people are saying that he co-opted the movement and blended them together. But it's he's not wrong, right? Historically, he's not wrong. It's similar scenarios, right? Similar scenarios. So why are people getting upset about this, right? Why are people getting upset about this if it's similar scenarios, right? Why are people getting upset about this? I mean, why is it so controversial, right? So and then he
Deeply in the principle of self-determination that I think that should also be extended to the.
So this is another thing that he said while being interviewed for the news, right? Right? In the Irish parade, in the St. Patrick's Day parade, he spoke.
Irish, and I think when it comes to the future of Ireland, the best people to listen to are the Irish. I've had the pleasure of doing so as the mayor of this city, and I look forward to having that pleasure for weeks and months and years to come.
So you're going to sign the buffer zone? Are you going to sign the buffer zone bill? Why won't you answer?
What's 26 plus 6? United Ireland yet?
Sorry?
Have you had a chance to think more about a united Ireland?
There's always more to learn, but I can tell you as someone who believes deeply in the principle of self-determination that I think that should also be extended to the Irish. And I think when it comes to the future of Ireland, the best people to listen to are the Irish. I've had the pleasure of doing so as the mayor of this city, and I look forward to having that pleasure for weeks and months and years to come.
So you're going to sign the buffer zone? Are you going to sign the buffer zone bill? Why won't you answer?
What's 26 plus 6?
So interesting, right? His response. They were talking about hello, Top. How you doing? Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me on the live. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So they're really attacking Zohran for his stances, and Trump right now, Zohran is being attacked. Oh yeah, I know. It's okay because I'm just doing commentary. I'm trying to merge TikTok onto there, but TikTok, you need 10,000. You need 10,000 viewers on TikTok. Once I get 10,000 followers, then I'll be able to connect all of them together. And so right now, Trump fumes as foreign leaders show new willingness to defy him. Right? German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has none of President Trump's penchant for controversy or headline-grabbing language, but these days he's putting emphatic distance between Berlin and Washington, all the same. Merz is only declining to answer Trump's call for help in reopening the vital Strait of Hormuz. He is being scathing of the president's decision to wage war on Iran in the first place. To this day, there's no convincing plan for how this operation could succeed. Merz told German legislators on Wednesday, Reuters reporter. Washington has not consulted us and did not say European assistance was necessary. We would have advised against pursuing this course of action, as it has been pursued. Trump's call for help has found few takers anywhere. French President Emmanuel Macron said in a Tuesday cabinet meeting that his nation would never take part in efforts to open the Strait of Hormuz. While the current conflict rages, we are not party to this conflict, Macron noted. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has been more circumspect in public, but has got caught in Trump's rhetorical crosshairs nonetheless. The president takes exception to Starmer's disinclination to send British warships into the conflict zone. In normal circumstances, around one-fifth of the world's oil transits through the Strait of Hormuz, but Iran has succeeded in stifling shipping in the area, causing oil prices to spike and ratcheting up the domestic political pressure on Trump. The international reticence about getting involved in the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, which began on February 18, is not confined to Europe. Wow, so this is amazing because for the first time I hear them saying the U.S.-Israeli war, because they were saying that U.S.-Iranian war, but it's the U.S.-Israeli war. They renamed it, right? Australia's Transport Minister, Catherine King, has said that her nation won't be sending a ship to the Strait of Hormuz, adding that it's not something we've been asked or we're contributing to. Now, all eyes, so they're saying that there's no official communication from the White House. There's just Trump getting on Truth Social, Trump getting on Twitter, and that's not an official communication or a diplomatic channel to conduct business, right? Now, all are turning to Japanese Prime Minister Sanao Takachi, who is scheduled to meet with Trump at the White House on Thursday. She told her parliament on Wednesday that she expects the visit to be extremely difficult. The Prime Minister signaled that her argument for not participating in operations over the strait will be driven by constitutional restrictions on militarism in Japan, rooted in the aftermath of the Second World War. I intend to convey these points clearly, and I'm sure the U.S. side understands these laws given our history, Takachi said. According to, we don't need help of anyone, right? Whether Trump himself will extend empathy seems very much in doubt, given how he has fulminated about lack of assistance. The president has blasted America's traditional allies for their supposed ingratitude repeatedly in recent days. In a Tuesday social media post, he said that given the U.S. was the most powerful nation in the world, we do not need the help of anyone. We don't need anyone's help, but if countries want to help, we'll take their help right away, right? So it's a big contradiction, right? Big contradiction. We don't need people's help, but we would be willing to take people's help, right? So I don't understand what he's saying, right? I'm trying to understand what he's trying to say, but I don't understand what he's trying to say at the same time, right? Right? So we're still trying to understand what he's trying to say, right? It's all lies, definitely. He's saying all types of craziness, right? He's saying all types of craziness to cover himself, to cover everything he's doing. And we don't know what to expect from him, right? Let's watch this one more time. But why are Democrats participating?
The TDS. That, I think that's the leader right now. You know, right now our party is governed by the TDS, and now it's made it virtually impossible without being punished as a Democrat to agree something's good, or I agree with the other side. And I would define that by epic fury. I am literally the only Democrat in America in Congress that I've come across that's saying I think it's a great thing to break and destroy the Iranian regime. I think it's entirely appropriate to hold them accountable. And what's strange to me that every single Democrat that's run for president and anyone that I know in Congress says we must never allow them to acquire a nuclear bomb. When that happens, why not celebrate that or acknowledge that? I have only witnessed just criticism and this kinds of attack. Like, yeah, you don't have to agree on every single thing, but when a good thing happens, just because it comes from the different party, that tells me that you're choosing the demand of the base or the party over country or what's really, I think, appropriate in that circumstances.
This is just driving me crazy, this video, right? Featherman is saying that this is the Democrats we have. And that's what I keep telling myself. We're going to keep having cowards on both sides of the spectrum, right? We have cowards on the right-hand side. We have cowards on the left-hand side. We have people that are not really with the American people, right? We have people on both sides that are not willing to stand up to Donald Trump, right? There's people on both sides of the spectrum that are not willing to stand up to Donald Trump. And it's sad, right? It's sad to hear this. So who's willing to stand up to him? Who's willing to tell him no? Who's willing to say, hey, what you're doing is not right and stop what you're doing? Because most of the American people don't agree with this. So when are we gonna actually stand up and say, hey, you know what? We need a change in who's leading us. We need a change in our leadership, right? We need a change in who's representing us. Right? So also what has come up is the Epstein stuff has come up today. Big time, right? Epstein stuff has come back up. Big time. We got the Epstein stuff coming up. And Bondi was supposed to be interviewed in Congress. And Bondi was supposed to be interviewed in Congress today. And will they allow her to be interviewed? That's my question. Right? Will they allow her to be interviewed? Let's listen.
Release any of this. They told Republicans not to sign on to the bill. If they signed on to it, it was a hostile to the influencers. Then the list was on her desk. Then there was no list, maybe no desk, in fact. Okay. Then it went. Then it went from right. This is a Democratic hoax. We can't release any of this. They told Republicans not to sign on to the bill. If they signed on to it, it was a hostile act against the White House. Then they brought Republican members into the Situation Room. You know, the place like where we go to war, right? And basically promised them things in their district, threatened them. Pam Bondi was in those meetings. Okay, in the Situation Room. And so, you know, let's like not have like, you know, the most transparent, you know, administration in American history. They tried to cover this up and keep this from ever coming out. And it only was because Congress pushed it on them that we are where we are. You know, look, that being said, I find it interesting that Comer's doing this.
So Bondi was subpoenaed.
The deposition. What, he doesn't want a public hearing? What, the last one didn't go well for her? Okay, so we'll have to see.
So she doesn't want
a
a public hearing. She says she will comply with the subpoena, but she doesn't want a public hearing, that she rather discuss it in private. So she wants the subpoena to be a closed door subpoena. She doesn't want to testify in public because the last time it didn't go too well for her. She was highly criticized for everything that was happening.
Goes down. I'm happy to help Comer out. Okay, I'm happy to help Comer out.
Wait, but let's stay on this point about why they're choosing to do this behind closed doors, because in the past, part of the sort of rationale for doing it behind closed doors is let's see what you have and what information you're willing to give us.
No, they're hiding her now.
Correct.
Yeah, they're hiding her now.
And so then what happens, right? Because if she goes in and plays the same game in private that she has played in public, where it becomes, you know, her burn book, her reading off accusations about anyone who deigns to ask her a question, well, that's not really probative. So then what do you do?
Yeah, no. The strategy here is they voted on the subpoena, so they have to do that, okay? And then put her in the deposition without TV cameras, right? This is not, you know, oh, maybe she'll change strategy. No, they do not want her to do another hearing. That hearing was a total debacle for them. By the way, now that the Dow is no longer at 50,000, it's at 47,000, can we go after sex predators? Is that like, can we do that now? Because that was the excuse of why we shouldn't be asking any of these questions. So, you know, look, I don't know what the
So she's going to be deposed, but the Justice Department says they don't want her to do a public hearing. They want it to be private. But the thing is that the American people need to know, right? And it's going to be related to the Epstein files. The same way they had Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton have to answer questions about under oath about the Epstein files. Now it's Pam Bondi's turn, right? So it's like, it seems like they're getting a little bit closer. They're moving up the ladder. Right? They're moving up the ladder slowly, moving up the ladder and pretty much going after Trump's inner circle as his popularity drives, then takes a nosedive. Then it seems like people are more willing to speak about the Epstein files.
Position with her is going to be like, I don't know that she's going to give out any more information. We have a ton of questions like, why are millions of documents still redacted?
Yeah, so there's like millions of documents redacted. She refused to show them, right? She refused to show the documents. She's not showing the documents. She's not sharing everything that's happening. She's not sharing it. She's not sharing. There's still 1 million documents that are redacted and haven't been released. They say they're reviewing them. They're still reviewing them. And so it's falling apart kind of for Donald Trump because he can't hide forever. right? He can't hide forever from the documents being released. I don't know what documents are in the file. Not many people know what documents are in the file, right? Not many people know, but if you do know, Pam Bondi's story has changed constantly. She had a terrible meeting. Right? She had a terrible meeting in the White House, right? Do you agree? She had a terrible meeting in the White House, right? So that's just a reality.
Depending on the extent of the damage at that facility, this could have implications not only
monitoring the situation.
Okay, let's cross to Ali Hashimi, joins us live from Tehran. Ali, so Saudi Arabia's foreign minister warning in that press conference that they would not shy away from taking military action against Iran if they have.
So now Saudi Arabia is saying that they might join the war.
Well, this is
also.
a turning point. Well, this is the Iranian relationships actually engulf Iran.
So the Gulf countries are saying they're willing, right? They're saying they're willing to go to war with Iran, right? They're willing to go to a war with Iran. So Saudi Arabia right now is threatening. They're saying that they would be willing to go to war with Iran, right? That's what they're saying. So Saudi Arabia is saying that they will be willing to go into war. Well, what difference would it make if Saudi Arabia jumps into this? Would it make a difference internationally? Right? Would it make a difference internationally if Saudi Arabia jumps into this? I don't know how much of a difference it will make. But there's so much going on at the same time. It's driving people crazy. And we just got to stay posted and stay tuned to all the nonsense that's happening in the world. And Trump is getting more and more impatient with the world powers. But there is some people that are willing to right? Willing to stand up to whatever's happening, right? So another person that's going hard on Donald Trump is, now she changed her name on X. Now she became former Congresswoman, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She posted this.
The consequences of this war are real. Why are our sons and daughters coming home in caskets for Israel? I witnessed this coming home to the Bay Area yesterday, and it was so heartbreaking. Why?
And this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is what she
The
posted.
consequences of this war are real. Why are our sons and daughters coming home in caskets for Israel? I witnessed this coming home to the Bay Area yesterday, and it was so heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking, right? It is heartbreaking watching this. It's real heartbreaking to watch this. To watch people coming back. To watch people coming back in caskets, right? That's just a reality. This is what's happening in this war, that people are just coming back in caskets. It's hard to see, but don't keep the truth from the American people, right? Don't keep the truth from the American people, because the American people deserve the truth. They deserve to know what is happening, and people are upset. So they are attacking people like Zohran Mandani, which is more than they are Donald Trump. They're speaking more against, I keep saying more against Zohran than they are speaking out against Donald Trump. And that's a little upsetting as a person that is Latino, but grew up in this country and has several generations of, people, not Americans in this country. It's upsetting to watch people coming back just because they felt like starting this or pursuing this. This is upsetting, right? A lot of people are seeing this. They don't want the media to cover this. They don't want the media to show videos like this. They definitely don't want social media covering this. And they don't want people reposting this type of stuff because it makes
Why?
America look bad. All right, let's watch it again.
The consequences of this war are real. Why are our sons and daughters coming home in caskets for Israel? I witnessed this coming home to the Bay Area yesterday, and it was so heartbreaking. Why?
Wow, we have this guy, John Featherman, talk about he's happy with the war. He's happy with everything that's happening. And he doesn't understand why Democrats don't support it, right? I don't understand. They don't understand. Right? And this was Iran's response, right? So some people are saying they don't really care. The United States is taking it too far, along with Israel. And so they don't really, there's no going back, right? They're not willing to negotiate with the United States.
National Security Council and was widely seen as one of the most powerful men in the country. He had close ties to the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and his son and successor Mojtaba. Iran says it has retaliated for Larijani's killing. State television reported that Tehran launched missile strikes toward the Tel Aviv area overnight. describing the attack as revenge for the assassination. The killing marks a major escalation in the U.S.-Israeli war in Iran, now in its fourth week, with the conflict spreading across the region. As tensions rise, U.S. President Donald Trump has criticized allies for refusing to help secure the Strait of Hormuz, a key shipping route for global oil supplies. Trump says NATO countries and other key partners have declined to get involved.
And so people don't want to get involved because this is what's happening. And is the media downplaying it? Is the media downplaying it? I'm not sure. Like, I haven't been seeing this unless I go to social media, unless I look at certain people's accounts. And these were Trump supporters. Marjorie Taylor Greene was
Consequences
a
of this war are real. Why are our sons and daughters coming home in caskets for Israel?
Right.
I witnessed this coming home to the Bay Area yesterday, and it was so heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking, right? Heartbreaking.
Why?
Why do we have to experience this?
The consequences of this war are real. Why are our sons and daughters coming home in caskets?
And so it's just a reality. These are the things that are happening across the country. No one wants to see this happening, right? No one wants to see this happening. No one wants to see this happening. No one wants to see Americans coming home in caskets, right? No one. Because I don't think this is what people signed up for. Right? This is not what people signed up for, period. Getting cold, right? I get a lot of bad. People get upset when I play Zohran.
Not every
and the stuff he
day
does.
that we gather workers of this city, those who touch
It's
every
a
corner
multicultural
of the
city.
five
We
boroughs.
embrace everyone's culture.
I
We
have
don't discriminate,
been
right?
looking forward to this evening
Or at
for a
least most
long
of us
time.
don't. I'm sure
It
there's
is
people
not
that
every
do.
day that we gather workers of this city, those who touch every corner of the five boroughs, to join together for an iftar. And it is not every day that we see in one room the sheer breadth of Muslim life in New York City. The many languages spoken, the different cultures lived, the many soccer teams we root for, in good times and in bad.
The fact that he is starting to normalize the very, very open practice of Islam by going to these iftars, by every day he posts, and he keeps bringing up Islam in all of his speeches. So when I see someone who does that constantly, then I'm like, this is good for Islam.
This is a city that is powered by its workers. I'm grateful for all that you do to keep our city running. I know it is often uncelebrated work, unrecognized. I know that it requires a lot for from you. Longer commutes, even longer hours. Every day you make sacrifices. Every day you spend time away from loved ones to serve our city. And during Ramadan, you do all of this with the added challenges of a stomach that aches with hunger and lips parched from thirst. For nearly as long as there has been a New York City, there have been Muslim New Yorkers. And yet for nearly just as long, those with power and platform have sought to dehumanize us. I think too of the smaller indignities. The indignities.
And right now they declared Saudi Arabia sent a warning to all Gulf states to evacuate oil facilities in Saudi Arabia, UAE, and several other countries to evacuate their the premises, right?
That many New Yorkers face, but that Muslims
Why
are
can't we
expected
just
to
get
face
along,
in
people?
silence.
Why can't we just get along?
Of the exhaustion of having to explain yourself to those who are not interested in understanding. Of the men who introduce themselves by their given name only to be called Muhammad for years on end.
My son has seen, because of his name, a lot of discrimination. So I feel positive that his presence, like as what is he doing as a mayor of New York City, that's going to change the mindset of people about Muslims, not negative, in a positive way.
So this was a video put together by a local newspaper, which is like interesting, right? We gotta be embracing of different cultures and not just say that every person is evil, that every person shouldn't be welcome in this city. We welcome everyone in this city, and we don't just push people away, right? We don't push people away because right? And then so now Donald Trump saying that there's drills. China does not currently plan to invade Taiwan in 2027. The U.S. intelligence community said in its annual threat assessment published Wednesday. So Taiwan does not plan on going into. China's not planning on going into Taiwan, according to the risk assessment of the United States. So didn't they say that the United States doesn't do a risk assessment? They are constantly doing risk assessment to see what's going on around the world. This is what we do. We have eyes everywhere, ears everywhere, and right. Oh, there was also something I wanted to check out. One last thing before I leave, right? Let's see. So today, Governor Hochul, which is not a lot of people's fan, but she launched ads against right. She launched ads against Hochul. Right. Let's see. So Hochul launched new ads against Blakeman. And this is the guy that's running in the Republican Party in New York, right? Bruce Blakeman. And he's claims that he's not too close to Trump, but he's close
The
to
party
Trump.
faces an uphill battle in many of the key congressional races. A Marist poll out just this week, though, shows Governor Hochul's lead over her Republican challenger, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, decreasing a bit, yet it is still significant. Here are the numbers. Hochul leading by
you've achieved, and compare it to her record as having the most overtaxed, overregulated economy that is not producing jobs, is making it less affordable to live in New York. I will cut taxes on day one, cut utility rates on day one, and make sure that we have good jobs with good benefits for the people so that they don't have to go to other states to get employment.
You know, New York City is a very blue city. I want to talk about New York City just for a second because Mayor Mamdani is a self-described Democratic socialist, right? But many folks would say that you need New York City to win the governor's race across the state because of how densely populated it is, right? They just elected a Democratic socialist. Democrats outweigh Republicans. What makes you think you can convince people who voted for Zohran Mamdani to vote for you?
So in the last election that I had last November, in a county with 110,000 more Democrats than Republicans, in a night that was dismal for Republicans across the United States, I won re-election in a landslide by 36,000 votes because I am the type of Republican that appeals to not only Republicans and conservative voters, but also independent voters and moderate Democrats.
But I'm talking about Democratic socialists who just elected a Democratic socialist mayor.
Well, Zohran Mamdani won by a hair. He only got 51% of the vote. So that means 49% of New York City residents were unhappy. And now that he has proposed increasing their property taxes by 9.5%, I would imagine that he's well below 51%. And that's just the point.
So Zohran is not
I want to
popular.
lower taxes. Zohran Mamdani wants to raise taxes on middle-class families. Kathy Hochul endorsed him. He endorsed Kathy Hochul.
So supposedly Zohran's not popular in New York City. He's going to be more popular.
They're in bed
He
together,
doesn't
they're
have
in
the
league
charisma.
together. And I will end that when I become governor. We will make this more affordable.
The governor has said, though, she has poured cold water on his plan to raise taxes on the wealthy, on the corporate tax rate. She said absolutely not, which is why he's now looking at this property tax rate. If you were to win, what would you do with taxes?
Yeah, Kathy Hochul said no congestion pricing. And then after the election, lo and behold, we got congestion pricing here in New York City. She's going to continue that on other streets in New York City. That's why she did it.
What do you think?
In the lower part
Do you
of Manhattan.
agree? Do you like this guy, Republican, running in New York City? Hard, right? In New York State. You think that what are the chances of having a Republican win office? What are the chances of having a Republican win office? You tell me. You think he has a chance?
Now it'll come to the rest of Manhattan, then it'll be in Brooklyn, the 5 boroughs, then it'll spread out through the suburbs and then upstate. Kathy Hochul has a history of saying one thing and doing something else after the election. So I know they have a secret deal to raise taxes and to raise revenue for New York City instead of ending the illegal migrant program, which the state spent $6 billion on, the city spent $8 billion on. This is money for people who've been here for 15 minutes. This money should be spent on New Yorkers, or at least cut their taxes and give them the money back. But to spend money on illegal migrants who've been here for 15 minutes, I'm a governor that will put our people first, New Yorkers first, someone who cares about their families, not people who just moved here. They're here illegally, and we're paying billions of dollars of taxpayer dollars to support them.
A lot was just said there's
Wow, xenophobic guy, and he just bashed immigrants and migrants when there's a lot of people that come from other backgrounds, other households. Why is he bashing migrants? Why is he bashing people from other backgrounds, people that only been here for a hot minute? When they talk like this, speak like this, the bigotry, the xenophobia. He also ran ads against Zohran.
Let me go to that platform for a second in terms of what Republicans are doing across the country, cracking down on immigration, right? New York City is a sanctuary city, and it's protected by sanctuary laws in the council. If you were governor, would you be able to change that? Would you want to change that?
When I become governor, day one, we will no longer be a sanctuary state.
But what about New York
we
City?
are
'Cause they have their
spending,
own
we are,
rules.
well, New York City would not be a sanctuary city if we're not a sanctuary state because we won't fund that. We won't support it. I don't want to support people with New Yorkers' money
New York State is not a
that have
sanctuary
been here
state.
for 15 minutes. They came here illegally. They're getting free housing.
Wow, this guy is so bigoted, xenophobe. He thinks he's gonna win New York City like this.
They're getting free food. They're getting free transportation, free cell phones. That will stop on day one. I'm going to spend money on New Yorkers. And these are the people that are funding this state. And they don't want their money spent on people that come from other places. They land here and all of a sudden they get things that.
This is crazy, right?
New York
crazy.
citizens don't get. That's not.
This is crazy and bizarre, right? Crazy and bizarre that he's doing that.
Not fair. It's not right. And I'll end it.
For folks who are immigrants or are looking for a legal pathway to citizenship, would you support that?
Yes. What I have said is we need a guest worker program whereby, let's say you've been here for 7, 8, 9 years, your visa expired, you got married, or maybe you had a child, you're gainfully employed, you haven't gotten in trouble. I think there needs to be a way to keep them here legally. And I have said it consistently that I think we need a guest worker program. And not only that, the industry needs it. The restaurant industry needs it. The hospitality industry needs it. Upstate, the farmers need it.
So you're willing to exploit labor and have people as guests, but not give them a path to legalize this situation. And also you don't want to like Bruce Brakeman. Oh man, this guy is dangerous, right? I don't think he will win in New York. Especially, I don't think he'll win. I mean, that's just my opinion. But maybe am I wrong? Am I wrong? Will he win? Right? Will he win? Let me see if I can pull up her attack ads against him. Let's see. So she released new ads. And so I wonder how the ads are. Are they any good? I don't know how effective this is, but this is her new stance against Trump, supposedly.
How dare they take an elected official who's been going down there for weeks to escort people who are afraid to walk into a courthouse in the United States of America because despite them having legal status and following the rules and making their appointments, that they don't know what's going to happen to them. So Brad Lander has stepped up to be a guiding help for them. And this is what happens to him. What the hell is happening to this country? I just left Little Haiti. People are being traumatized. Small businesses, people walking down the street. When I was there in August, the streets were mobbed. People were walking down the sidewalks. There were vendors everywhere. The traffic was crowded. Today, there was silence. People are living in fear. One woman just told me the ICE agents are going in and out of buildings there. They came here with legal status. Temporary protective status was legal. Tens of thousands of people came here with legal status, and it's literally ripped away from them overnight.
So Hochul is going to be the anti-Trump. She's running her campaign as like anti-Trump, while Bruce Brakeman is running it as nonsense
it's a need we
Republican.
have for these types of workers, and I think it's not compassionate or fair to take people who may have been here 7, 8, 9 years and just rip them out of communities and send them home. I think that if they've stayed out of trouble and they're gainfully employed, then there should be a path to legality.
President Trump just gave his State of the Union this week. His approval rating in New York has dropped a bit. Would you describe yourself as a MAGA Republican?
I would describe myself as a supporter. I would describe myself as someone who has supported President Trump. I consider him a friend. I consider him a friend of New York. He loves New York.
Yeah.
He grew up here. He developed a lot of real estate here, did a lot of businesses here. He contributed to the renovation of Wallman Rink when the city of New York couldn't get that done. And he did it in a very, very quick way, in a cost-efficient way. But what I would say is Kathy Hochul wants to talk about everything other than her record. I'm running against her record, and I'm running on my record.
But on President Trump, is there anything you disagree with him on?
I disagree with him on a few things, yes.
Like what?
We don't discuss that in public because he's
But
a friend
voters
of
would want to
mine.
know.
Well, if I have a disagreement with him, I'll tell him myself. I'll tell him in person, which I do. And we share information. There's things that I do that he disagrees with.
Okay.
So the fact of the matter is we have a confidential relationship, and we don't talk about those things in public, but I voice my opinion to all my friends.
We have a confidential relationship with Donald Trump, right? He has a confidential relationship. I don't know. It didn't help Cuomo being endorsed by Trump. It didn't help Cuomo at all. Right? It didn't help Cuomo at all with getting elected, right? This is a race between two bad candidates, Hochul and Blakeman. You know, they're two bad candidates. They have bad positions. They're not fit for New York, right? They should be doing more for the people and more for taxing the rich, and also the inequality in New York. There's too much inequality in New York, really bad inequality, where people are being priced out and they're moving to other states. And it's not the rich that are doing that, it's the poor that are being affected the most. But everyone, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a good night, and may God bless you. I'll be with you, and peace be with you. Wherever you are, wherever you go, and whatever you believe, let there be peace with you wherever you are, even if there's no peace in the world. Even if there's no peace, let there be peace with you. And I appreciate you all. Watch the video. Good day, good day. So thank you for joining me. And have a good night, everyone. Take care of yourself. And we'll talk, okay? Take care.